This large mound of forsythia and prickers and whatever else invasive is where we're going to be putting the new workshop. So all this has got to come out, and we got to level this out, and we're going to build it here starting basically as soon as we can, probably in the spring. Here we are at the garage that I took down a couple summers ago. If you haven't seen that video, you should check it out. I'll link that. But basically I took down this garage and I've had it stored here, and actually a week ago it was all covered and dry and not snowy, and then I guess we had some wind because all of my roofing that was on here is now blown everywhere. So I know what I'm doing next. I got to get this covered up. Unfortunately, there's snow all over it, so that's kind of a bummer. But anyways, all the more reason why I'm going to be using this garage, these materials, to build a new workshop. So it's not going to be the exact same shape as what we took down. I'm basically reusing the materials to recreate what I need. It's going to be a 16 by 24 building, gable style roof, pretty simple. First step, we got to clear out all this forsythia and vines. There's some branches in there that fell during the winter. Over here is a whole bunch of wisteria. I want to get all this out of here before it starts to grow this spring, because once it gets leaves on it, it's so much harder to see where the, where it's growing from and how to get in there. So I'm going to get to this. I've got most of the brush cleaned up along this edge. There's still some pieces of pine tree that fell during the winter back there that I gotta get out of here. But that's all cleared out. I started to remove some of this, what is this stuff? Wisteria. I'm able to pull out the bigger chunks with the tractor. So I'm getting the topsoil scraped off. Got a lot of that off already. This is my pile of basically topsoil and roots and whatever. I'm gonna store that in the back. I don't think I'm gonna use it for anything, but I'm just gonna dump that out back. I'm gonna start bringing some more dirt over here to start leveling this area out. I removed a bunch of dirt from behind our rental property. I'm not really sure how much, but I'm just gonna bring it all over here, see what sort of progress we can make. Got more dirt to remove, so just gonna do a whole bunch of trips back and forth with the tractor and see if we can level this out a little bit. I need to do a little tree work today. All these little trees in here are gonna come out. They're not really in the building. The back corner of the building is gonna be about where I'm standing, but they're a little too close. I wanna be able to get around here with a vehicle, tractor, whatever. So I'm just gonna cut them down. I'm not gonna worry about knocking them over, digging out the stumps. They're not under the foundation. So, but I need them gone. I don't want them standing. I'm gonna take them out now before I get the building set up. So I got the tractor stuck. It actually stalled the engine out. Thought it was a root. Turns out we've got this pipe here. Probably was a water line, I guess. Going from the main house over to the rental house. But we're gonna dig that up and cut that out. This is the new access road up to where the building's gonna be up there. Here's the progress after the first day of my week-long vacation from work to work on this building. I've got the access road cut in. Let's see if you can. So there's like a maybe 2-foot steep bank from the paved driveway up to the lawn. So we cut that down, so now it's a gentle slope. Gotta do a little more fine tuning on this tomorrow with the excavator. This is where that pipe came across, right here, and the other end is somewhere in there, and it goes directly underneath the tree and into the basement of the house. So we come up. These yellow stakes here are where the building was going to be. I've already decided to move it a couple feet. We're going to shift it to the right here. I think like 2 or 3 feet just to get it centered on this driveway. And then you can kind of see there's the back corner there. The other back corner is under that pile of topsoil. So we started to get everything leveled out here, pulling a bunch of rocks out. Still got quite a bit of work to do, but I've got a ton of dirt I gotta bring over here. I've got a dump trailer rented for tomorrow, and I've got an excavator coming for the week. So we're gonna do a ton of work, try to get everything, all the earthwork done in the next week. Seems doable. Only problem we had, little finger injury. I don't know if that'll focus on my finger, but we'll pinch, we'll survive. So, yep. Be back at it tomorrow, bright and early. Pick up the trailer at 7 a.m. Got the dump trailer rented today. First load, I'm taking care of some of this topsoil. This will be the second load right here. I'm taking it easy. This is a huge dump trailer. This is a 16-footer. I don't want to overload it and then not be able to dump it out, so I'm just gonna take it easy. Do a couple trips. I'm just loading it with the tractor because my excavator, the delivery guy got a flat tire, so he's running late. It's 9:30, no excavator, but he's supposedly on his way, so we'll do what we can, get this first load dumped and get this pile out of here, hopefully. Alright, well, that's as up as it goes. I guess I'm gonna have to jerk it forward and dump this out. And I have to get a hand because that's hitting on that tree, but I think it should be okay. Well, it's all the way up and I cannot get this to dump out. Dumped about half of what was in there. This is still sitting stuck in there. You want to grab a shovel, kind of poke this thing out. Be nice if it went up a little steeper, I think, but end of day 2 having the excavator. Coming up the driveway here, it's quite steep. The building is sitting on this left side quite a bit higher than I imagined. It's probably 3 feet above the ground over here. We did dig it down about a foot in the back corner there. I don't want to have this thing too far into the earth though. I don't want to have water problems, so it's sitting up. The site is mostly level. This is just dirt mostly. Got some stone over here. Once I get the holes excavated and the posts set, I'll bring in more stone. I'm gonna have 6 inches of stone on top of this dirt, and that'll basically bring this uphill side flush with the ground. So we're making good progress. A little slower than I was hoping, but it's still progress, and I'm still happy. Quick note on the Kato excavator. Is a 5-ton. It's all right. Does an okay job, but it's not very strong. The Bobcat E35 that I've used previously is a little bit stronger, I think. And plus 8 is going to be 15, 10 and a half. Close enough. Okay. It's kind of nice when there's only, that's it, you know?
How many do you have?
12
Total?
total. I have to go to the prints to know where these ones go for the doors.
You might be able to get this thing to dig, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna
At
give
this
it a
point,
shot.
like just even now,
Yeah.
even though it hasn't been dry for that long.
It's already 2:30 though, so I still don't think that I'll be able to call and get an inspection tomorrow.
When would you have had to call by?
Like this morning.
Ah, I see.
I got all my string lines set up on my batter boards. I know they're a little crooked. It's fine. And I laid out all my post locations. I put a stick in them just in case I don't get to them before rain. I don't want the paint to wash away, but that's where all my posts are gonna go. I watched a great video that Kyle from our buildings did a few years ago about how to do this with strings and tape measures. So I used that, worked out pretty well. So I'm gonna give this a shot digging. It's a little wet, I don't know how it's gonna go, but I think I'm gonna start on this downhill side, and I'll have to pull the material in to the building, or have the machine sitting in the building and dig there. So we'll just see how it goes. I'm going to do one and evaluate if I can keep digging or if I have to wait longer for it to dry out.
How is it?
It's fine.
Yeah?
I couldn't get up here. Got a little stuck, but once I'm here, I think it'll be okay. That's, a bigger hole than you need.
Yeah.
This is what we're working with.
Right, and so all that's going to have to be dumped back in once
Yeah, and I got to do a little handwork, but basically that's the right depth.
Oh! So how long did that take?
I've been out here probably 20 minutes. But
just setting up,
most of that was set up. That was, I think, 4 or 5 scoops.
Okay.
So I think this is going to work. It's 3:30. I'm a little nervous to call for the inspection right now to see if he can come tomorrow, because if he comes at 7 a.m., I'm nervous about
But what is the likelihood of that happening?
coming early.
I mean, what if you just called and you said, one consideration is what if it rains, and one consideration is what time of day is he likely to come?
When he did our electrical stuff, I don't know if it's the same person, but they came at 7. feel like I accomplished as much today as I wanted to, but I got some material down on the driveway, got some driveway fabric underneath, so hopefully this will be firm enough to drive on, at least with the tractor, once it sets up a little bit. And today's Thursday. I was hoping to get an inspection tomorrow for my footings, but the inspector is not working. So my inspection's not till Monday. So I dug one hole, put my footing pad down there just to kind of test fit everything. I think it's going to work out pretty good, but I'm actually not going to dig the rest until Saturday. I'm busy on Sunday, so I'm going to dig the rest of them on Saturday. I just don't want them filling with water or anybody falling in if they're open for such a long time. So do the other 11 holes on Saturday. Should go pretty quick. Kind of got it figured out here. I'm able to dig a pretty straight wall with that excavator. This hole's bigger than it needs to be because I missed my location by like 6 inches in kind of two directions. So the other ones will be smaller hopefully, but yep, everything's laid out, ready to go, ready to dig. And I got another 20 tons of stone delivered this morning. I've already used some of that on the driveway here. The rest of it is going to go on this pad, basically under the excavator, to bring it up another 6 inches once I have my posts in place. Here's what I'm using for the post that's in the ground. These are Permacolumn for a 6x6 post, PC 6600 I think is the part number. They're 5 feet long. They got rebar in them. These brackets basically have rebar that goes all the way down. They come with this hole down here. You can either put a piece of rebar in there, or they sell a kit like this for uplift. It's basically the same as this. I decided to make my own because it was cheaper and I have the capability to do that. So I actually ordered these from a local steel supplier, cut to length already. I just drilled all the holes, bought the hardware locally, and that was cheaper than getting the kit from them. But it came with all the hardware, so bolts and screws like Simpson SDS structural screws go through there. It came with all that. This is by far the most expensive part of this building, but I did the math out. It cost only a couple $100 more than buying all the sonotubes and footings and concrete to pour my own. I don't have to pour anything. I just drop these in the hole, backfill, and I'm done, all in one day basically. So for me, doing it myself, labor is more valuable than anything, I think. So decided to go with these. We'll see. I think I like them so far. The other thing I like about these is that they're not perfect squares, but they have flat sides here. So I can attach, a grade board or whatever right to it. And I don't have a round sonotube poking out of the ground that then I have to somehow deal with how my building is situated. These are actually going to stick out once all is said and done. The top of my concrete floor is going to be about where my foot is. So there's going to be plenty of concrete sticking out of the ground. I'm not going to have any wood near the ground for this building. So I'm just getting these uplift brackets installed right now, getting them ready for install in a couple days. dug all the holes. They're, kind of to rough depth. I'm gonna need to do a bunch of handwork, getting these, flattened out and cleaned up. But they're all dug, and tomorrow I'll get them finished up and ready for inspection. I did hit quite a bit of rock over in this one. Luckily I was able to break it up, but there's a ton of rocks in there. That's what the footing looks like down in there, obviously without all the dirt on top of it, but so that'll sit down in there, the post sits right on top, and everything gets backfilled. Alright, it is Saturday afternoon. It's been raining all day. Thankfully, I decided to dig all my holes yesterday with the excavator. So all my holes are dug, but I need to, as you can see, finish them up by hand. I've been waiting because it's been raining, but I can't wait any longer because I'm out of town tomorrow, going on a little family trip. So I need to have these done today so that they can come and inspect Monday morning, 7 a.m. So I got a few of these. I got 5 done right now to grade, tamp down. It's still a little bit wet down there. It's actually way more wet up here than in the holes, which is kind of interesting. But got all those. I'm just onto this one now, but it started to rain pretty good, so I wanted to cover up my laser. So, got 5 done, 7 to go. Just waiting for the rain to stop again. I'm in one of the holes over here, and I just see this is wire, like old, looks like lead jacketed, almost like a coaxial wire, but this is copper. Might have been some old school direct burial. There's 2 of them, so I don't know if that's like hot and neutral for 120 or if that was a 240 feed to our rental house, which is over through those trees back in the day. Obviously this is dead. There's, I know that there's no power out here. There's nothing connected inside. We have a new service the house has been rewired and everything, but this is actually the second piece I've found on the property. We found some on the other side that used to feed the old barns, but you can kind of see there's the other half here. But the lead's totally broken down, just kind of falls apart, and then it leaves this wire with the copper core on the inside. So I'll probably cut that out of here so we don't get any issues with that. Here we are, 4:30 Saturday, and I think I'm ready for my inspection. I hope. Never done an inspection before, so we'll see how it goes, but got all my holes dug down and flattened out. Got my footing pads all laid out. My columns are all set, ready to go over there with the uplift brackets attached. String lines are up, so as soon as I get the okay, I'm going to be setting the columns in and starting to backfill. And if I can get all that done on Monday, that would make me very happy, because the machine has to go back Tuesday morning. So if I can, it'll be a lot easier for me to drop the columns in using that machine than using my tractor, which is a bit more of a blunt tool. It can be done. We'll figure it out. But anyway, basically have to wait until Monday morning. Hope this all dries out in the meantime between now and then. and I'll let you know how it goes. Got all the posts in. The permacolumns, I mean. They're all in their places. Ready for building. Well, not quite. I gotta backfill quite a bit. I need more material. But everything's in its place. I gotta bring this grade up another 6 inches in some spots and probably 18 inches in some spots. And once that's all done, we can start building the structure. The excavator leaves us first thing in the morning. I'm coming to pick that up. Did good, no complaints really. Could have been a little bit stronger on the hydraulics, but we got it done. It's now mid-July. I wasn't able to work on this for a little while, but getting back to it. So I've got the level of the pad almost there. A few low spots left, especially on this front left corner, between where the door is, between the posts there. That needs to come up almost a foot, I think. But before I go to final, what I want to do is mark on the concrete columns where it's probably going to be somewhere in here where the top of my grade board is going to be. And then I'm going to bring in a few more inches of just clean crushed stone. The dirt's going to be compacted first, and then I'm going to compact the stone on top of that. Eventually there'll be concrete on top of that stone. So it'll be, and basically the concrete will get poured right flush to the top of the grade board. But for now, it's just going to be the stone. So I've got my laser set up in the middle. I've got my grade stick marked at 5.5 inches above. This is my pin that I set. This is basically going to be the top of the stone once everything is all set. I set that at the beginning of the project, and everything is referenced off of that pin. So if I do everything right, basically my final grade will be where it needs to be so that the posts are embedded the right depth for frost, etc., etc. So that pin hasn't moved and won't move until I'm 100% done with everything here. I'm working on kind of smoothing out the transition from the building pad down to our existing lawn. You can see over here it's pretty steep from where we leveled everything out. So I'm just putting the fill dirt that I've got left, kind of try to slope that down a little more gently. There's going to be topsoil going on top of this, but I think I'm pretty much out of fill. You can see I've got that area there. That's about 20 to 25 feet that I got to fill in. There's a couple spots on the backside, and I'd like to there's a little dip here. I don't know if you can tell where that rock is. It's actually higher at the tree. It goes down and then back up. I want to kind of fill all that in. So it's a little just one gentle slope, or relatively gentle, easy enough to mow, hopefully. So I think I got to get another truckload of fill. We'll start with one more. Hopefully that does it. Definitely using a lot more material than I anticipated. I've rented this plate compactor from Home Depot. My plan is to compact the whole pad, and then I have some clean stone to put down, and I'll compact the stone once that's on as well, get it all nice and level. I've got the hose out. I've watered down the driveway and the pad. Probably need a little bit more water, but we're just going to start there. This is starting, I would say, pretty typical of a Home Depot tool rental. I fired it up at the store just to make sure it worked. It did. Get it here, go to use it. As soon as I start dragging it up the driveway, it turns off. It had basically no oil, so the low pressure was shutting it off. So to put almost a quart into this little thing, and we'll see how this goes. But there's the first layer of stone. I'm basically within an inch or so across the whole pad. So I'm going to compact this. I've probably used half of the stone that I ordered. I'm going to compact this, add more where I need it, and then start bringing I want the stone to be maybe a foot, 18 inches outside the building all the way around. So I'll do that next once I get this pad leveled out and compacted. I am going to call that good enough. Ready to build. It's pretty smooth. A couple lumps and bumps, but that's okay. This is my finished floor for now. Eventually, we'll have 2 inches of insulation and a 4-inch concrete slab on top of this, but for the time being, this is our floor. So now, I'm gonna let this set up a few days, and I think I'm ready to start building on it. But this is looking really good. That little compactor did a pretty good job once I filled it with oil. So I think we're going to I'll wrap this one up here, and we'll start the next video on framing.